Welcome to the Defo Show with Lubie here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Today we talk with a man who's an icon in the sports journalism world. Longtime sports columnist. Yeah, he hails out of New York, but he's covered the NFL, the NBA, college basketball, college football. He knows his sports from coast to coast, north to south. So we talk to the one and only, and he's hilarious. We always have a great time with Lenn Robbins. Now with the New York Extra, we talked to him about his take on the Brian Flores debacle, what he thinks about, and also got to talk a little bit of big game, right? Yeah, we're in South Florida. We live in South Florida. Sports, but what else are we going to be watching Sunday? The Super Bowl 56. So we'll talk prop bets galore and a little bit of other degeneracy today with the one and only Lenn Robbins on the Defo Show with Lubie right here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network.
A great American, Lenn Robbins, a longtime sports writer for the New York Post, now the man behind, the main impetus, the catalyst, the captain behind the ship that is the New York Extra. We're joined here and delighted to be joined by Lenn Robbins here on the program. Lenn, how are you, my friend?
I'm well, guys. How are you?
Doing well.
We're doing all right. I mean, you couldn't ask for more. Usually the build-up in the off week before the Super Bowl week actually arrives, leading up to the game, is pretty dull, and we've been suggesting to people that it was easy to kind of rip up that story, that feature that you wrote on the third-string tight end who will see no action in the game, but, has like, a daughter who is like impaired or something, and, a great, brilliant story. But you could tear those up because you couldn't get more explosive than it did. In fact, it was so wild with this Brian Flores lawsuit that came out and Roger Goodell's subsequent reactions, because he's had many of them now, including yesterday. It was so explosive that we forgot that Dan Snyder was sexually assaulting like almost every woman in the organization with the Washington Redskins. And now the commies, I guess, as they're known. But what did you think? I mean, did the NFL really want that to happen at that time? I would imagine not, especially the assertion that maybe Stephen Ross was paying the coach to tank games.
Now that was an introduction, my friend.
Did you rip up the story on the backup long snapper?
Did I just hear impaired and commies in the same sentence? Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, well, the commies, I mean, everybody's going to be calling them the Washington commies, especially, if somehow the Democrats prevail again in these midterm elections.
See, I thought I had the best name for the Washington franchise, but they didn't hear me. I thought they should have been called the Washington Toxins, right?
That would make sense, yes.
Yeah, hear this through, right? I mean, it's a toxic work environment. Mm-hmm. Dan Snyder is a toxic human being. And you could have used all those, like, biohazard chemical symbols for your logo.
Crossbone.
Instead, we got a W for a team that I think, like, plays technically in Maryland but trains in Virginia.
Yes. Not uncommon today,
Not even
as in the New York Giants and Jets.
Look, as long as Dan Snyder is the owner of the Washington football team, then there's no amount of bad luck that can befall them that is enough. He is a heinous human being. Do you remember a number of years ago he did that infomercial, if you will, with the guy who I think was the play-by-play announcer for the team and a gentleman who claimed to be a Native American chief? Do you guys remember that story?
No, but I'm
I don't
curious.
remember that one. And not much of that type of stuff gets by us here on the Defo Show.
Oh, yeah. I thought you guys would have sponsored it or something.
Exactly.
We would have had our production company film it, of course.
It was like a 15, 20-minute infomercial where they had this gentleman claiming to be, I don't know, Chief Lenny Lenape, which is the camp I went to, by the way. Chief Lenny Lenape.
Might have been Wahoo McDaniel.
Wahoo McDaniel.
Talking about how the Native American community was not appalled by the name Redskins, that there actually was great support within the American. It turned out he basically was some like Skid Row guy that they found on the street one day who resembled a Native American person.
Oh, no. It wasn't even legit.
I vaguely remember this now that you're bringing it up, Len Robbins. And, yeah, it was interesting. I thought they found out the guy that was portraying the Native American was like a rabbi who had busted out because, he was found to have stolen a congregation's money to bet on the Super Bowl halftime props.
Right. First time ever, it was a defrocked rabbi.
That was always a question for me. If you're a rabbi, do you get defrocked, or is that just part of the Catholic religion?
I don't know. I'm just glad the word is frocked and nothing else.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it could easily be switched around to have deeper meaning with a couple of letter juxtapositions. All right, Len Robbins with us from the New York Extra. The Super Bowl week, build up. What's your experience? I would imagine you were involved in Radio Row coverage. I mean, you mostly, we're covering college sports and did that very expertly for the New York Post for so many years, and that's how I came to admire your work so much. But did you ever get involved in Super Bowl Radio Row coverage?
Yeah, the couple of times that I went to a Super Bowl, sure. I mean, it really is one of the more fascinating things. It's sort of like, to me, it's the combine for
yes, for me,
radio newspaper guys, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you go from booth to booth and you do this interview, and I guess part of you wants to perform well, if you will, say something witty, maybe something insightful. I've never done that, so to me it's like running the gauntlet.
Yes.
But it's it's impressive, because you do get to meet a lot of other people, you hear a lot of other opinions, and you gain more drinking buddies. So it's a win-win.
Did you ever have a prop bet on what Joe Theismann would be hawking on Radio Row? Because we scored big. We had it like 12-1 reverse mortgages one year. And when he came on the show and we asked him who he likes in a game, like a simple, innocuous opening question, and he said, well, you know what? If I was going to bet the game, I'd probably be inclined to take out a reverse mortgage right now. And we said, yeah. And people couldn't understand why we were reacting, with such elation to that response, when he was just hawking some lousy rip-off mortgage company. And, we had cashed a nice ticket on that. But so you never speculated on what Joe would be selling.
Yeah, that's a great point, by the way, right? Because most guys who have something that they're trying to hawk, right?
Yeah.
They come on your show and, they give you, a good, 10, 15 minutes. And then usually the host says, so John, you got a book coming out, right? Or John, I think you're involved in something really interesting, right?
Yep.
Theismann was not like that, right? Theismann was the reverse guest, right? Where he would come on, tell you what he was hawking, and then hopefully you got like a couple of minutes out of him.
Yep.
It was very interesting, very approach to Radio Row.
Very eloquent. And the other thing that would happen, I mean, in terms of the commercialization, which I think was well worth the trade-off to get the caliber of guests and the type of conversations.
Yeah, we're whatever about it.
You would never on any kind of a show, I don't care how big of an entity you were, have the succession of guests that, were well known and obviously very interesting and intriguing from different venues that you did on Radio Row. But what was always weird was when they brought like the guy that was the head of the pork rinds company, and he also had to appear with you on the program, right? So and one of my favorites was, and I'm sure you love this guy, Nick Mangold. The former New York Jets center, you with your Jets coverage. I mean, you would have to say that he's, almost Gronk-esque.
He's like a mountain man.
Although, like kind of a calm version of Gronk, or like an intelligent version of Gronk, Nick Mangold. How would you describe him as an interview subject? I thought he was really interesting.
He's like a mountain man.
Well, I think Nick Mangold is not given due credit for being an innovator. He was growing his hair out the back of his helmet way before it was like chic to do. Now you see that guy, I think he plays on the Dolphins, right? Is that Van Ginkel?
Van Ginkel.
Oh, Rip Van Winkle,
right?
yeah. No, he's great, man. He puts people to sleep. That's his MO.
Right. Right. Minnesota grad, I think, right? Or sure. Minnesota player. I don't know if any.
Nobody knows anybody on the Dolphin roster, even here in South Florida. Not even Chris Greer. He has no idea who this Van Ginkel guy is. Where do we get him? Huh? Steve, we got a player here. We got a player, Steve. I told you it was going the right way. There's a lot of Ralph Cramden type
doesn't
conversations there.
Oh, Stephen Ross doesn't know anything. What are you talking about?
Even Stephen Ross doesn't know who's on the roster.
Yeah. Well, you were saying about Mangold. I mean, see, we encountered Mangold.
Oh, we had him a couple times.
I thought he was a great interview.
He was fun.
And then he took out like this blowtorch that you would use at tailgate parties to cook steaks in like 3 seconds.
Yes.
And he aims it at Lubie and fires it up.
That was great.
So you had to put up with a lot of sort of circus type stuff also, depending on what the guy was selling. So the people seem to believe, Lenn Robbins, that Cincinnati is going to lose this game, although the sentiment seems to be very much in their favor. Is that how you see things? The consensus of the people that you've had conversations with and the surveys or whatever feedback you get on the New York Extra, that people want Cincinnati to win, but they fear they're destined to lose.
Yeah, I think that's pretty spot on. I mean, look, you got to like the Cincinnati team, right? You got to love this cigar-smoking, Vince Lombardi-like quarterback, right?
Yeah.
Second year in the league, number one draft choice, great helmets. We have to give homage to the Bengals helmets, right? I thought that would have been something that you saw in like the American Football League or something, something that five rich guys are like scheming up over a poker game, right? Let's start a league. But look, you have to respect the Rams in this regard, right? If ever a franchise went all in, I think I was talking to Mark Cannizzaro, my buddy from the New York Post the other day.
Yes.
And he was telling me that the Rams have now spent 4 number one draft choices, 4, just to get rid of Jared Goff. Right? 4
yeah, you would have to say that's minimal use of your draft capital.
Yeah, apparently they haven't had the number one draft choice since like 2016. They don't have another one until like 2024. So basically,
I think Pat Hayden was
like
their last number one pick. Pat Hayden.
Right. Basically, they're like the Brooklyn Nets circa Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, right? Yep. Where we go all in, and then who cares if basically we're getting a top 3 pick for the next 17 years? Like, who cares? And in a way, it's brilliant because if you win a Super Bowl, that's all that needs to be said. Yep. That's it. The rest doesn't matter. Nobody will look back on management ownership and say, wow, they poorly managed that franchise. Won a Super Bowl. End of story.
Yeah. We're talking with the one.
By the way,
yes.
I have some prop bets. I did.
We love props. Okay, what do you got?
We're hot on one that we think is a cinch. But go ahead. What do you have?
I think Von Miller is going to be the MVP.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
That's got to be a big number, Lenn Robbins. So what are you looking at there? Like 30 to 1?
What are the odds?
Oh no, it's much higher than that. It's much higher than that.
Good for you.
That's playing a bomb.
And I'm trying to find somebody who will take this action, but I can't find anybody. Not even my guy on the street corner who disappears shortly after you give it that.
Hey, where's Luigi? You seen him? Nah, I seen him not in a couple of days.
Right, it's like the Dr. Vinny Boombat's medical clinic, right?
No. Spirited away.
I think there's going to be co-defensive player of the game. I think that's only happened once before, right? The Cowboys, I think, had it once. Maybe like Ed Too Tall Jones, and I don't know, but I think that would be great. I think that there's a line out there on Jamar Chase only getting like 10 yards rushing. Come on.
Yes.
Who else can you name really on the Bengals offense that you care about?
That's it.
So they're going to have him running, throwing.
There's nobody else.
Right? I mean, he's one of the most exciting players in football. They're going to figure out ways to get him the ball.
They have been running him a little bit, in recent games.
The sweeps and all that.
I think that's an easy one. I think, and this is my big one. That
wait, I just want to check, so we can have safety people on hand. What bridge are you going to go to after those first 2 things fall through? Brooklyn, Triborough? I mean, which one do you take the plunge from?
You have no faith in me? I'm
you went 5-0 in the playoffs while we were getting stomped.
Remember, he's killing it this year. Lenn's on it.
Unbelievable. Yeah, no, you're doing great.
Actually,
we're following. We're writing these down.
All right, well, hold on. Before I say that, I did my future bets yesterday where I bet like $5 on every NCAA sort of like outside the top 10 team to win the Final Four.
Do you throw our man
Right?
Patino in there?
I'm going to be. No, I haven't gotten that far yet. I can't find them. They're so far down. You know what else bummed me out? I couldn't find St. Bonaventure. St. Bonaventure
Yeah.
got a good team with a really good coach. I can't find them.
Wow.
But anyway, my last prop bet off the Super Bowl,
Yes.
twofold. One, I think the halftime show is going to be really good and fun and exciting this year.
Okay.
Like no Madonna, right? No Justin fell in the lake, right? None of that, right? And I'm going to parlay that with all the whistles, ogles, and proposals that the Los Angeles Rams cheerleaders get. Not the Bengals.
That seems like a cinch over on the Rams cheerleaders, which include many famous alumni, including Lisa Guerrero, who was big on Fox Network, and she very proudly is displaying her cheerleader picture where she looked entirely different. By the way, no, still a very lovely young lady. Lubie's got one for you, Lenn Robbins.
Well, no, I was just going to bring it back to the last couple of things here with Lenn Robbins of the New York Extra. Follow him up on Twitter at Lenn Robbins. We talked about the Dan Snyder stuff. You deal with it. You've dealt in New York personally and indirectly with James Dolan. Off of the Brian Flores stuff came the Stephen Ross stuff. What did you put into any of that? Since you've dealt with some fun stuff with James Dolan, the Stephen Ross possibly paying for his head coach to tank directly.
Wow. Dolan and Ross in the same sentence. Well done. Impressive.
Seems impossible.
Look,
seems very possible.
I think you have to be like colorblind or just, so far right that your goal in life is to bid on like the horns that guy wore when they stormed the Capitol building, right? Not to understand that there's obviously systemic racism more than alive and well in the NFL. I mean, you can't have 32 franchises, and then claim that you have two coaches of color and one, Robert Saleh, who you like to just throw in there to show, like, okay, we're democratic.
Well, he had a gyro one time, and they said, okay, Lebanese minority, there you go.
Well,
and then they're actually a 2 and a hook now with
Mike
McDaniel, right?
He's half black.
Like half a black guy, and
sure
they're counting that. They're taking the hook.
Right. I mean, if what you eat then determines your makeup. I mean, I live in New York City. I'll have a gyro, a hot dog, and a slice of pizza in one day.
There you go. You qualify on 3 minority fronts, and you satisfy the compliance with the Rooney Rule by being interviewed.
Right, and then I'll have a knish for dinner.
No Jews, no Jewish head coaches that I know of. Marv Levy long since retired.
There you go.
There you go. How come nobody's investigated that?
Exactly. Look, I'm going to start a lawsuit. I can get some money out of the NFL. They'll settle on anything.
I thought it was very funny, though, actually. I think it was yesterday where the Washington football team announced that they were hiring, like, a new outside law firm to investigate the latest charges, right?
Yes.
As opposed to the House attorney, yeah.
Right, and that the Washington football team would be announcing the results of that investigation, and I was like, "Are we in Russia? Is that what's going on?"
Exactly.
Live from Beijing.
And then, right. By the way, your ski jumping suits are too big or too tight or whatever. You'll be disqualified, right?
Exactly.
I feel so bad for those young ladies, right? I mean, basically, you get 5 minutes every 4 years, right? You're training your rear end off, right? And then some guy comes along with a tape measure and a chalk and says, and maybe some bobby pins and measures your suit and says, nope, you're disqualified. I think
you're out of here.
See, even Cujo, the crazy dog.
Exactly.
I thought we were getting a subliminal suggestion about the underdog in this Super Bowl game. Len, I know you have to run. It's always a pleasure, my friend. Just fantastic stuff as always. And we appreciate you coming on the show. The New York Extra, NewYorkExtra.com, that's a freebie, right?
one of the last free things in America. And if that doesn't tell you something, nothing will.
Price of gas is escalating. Everything else is going out of control. You can't find a bar of cream cheese anywhere on the grocery store shelves, but the New York Extra is free. Len, always a pleasure, my friend. We love you. Thanks so much for joining us here on the program.
Guys, it's a pleasure. Let me know if you know where I can find chicken wings.
Yeah, we will.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, you're trying to thighs, man. They're a poor substitute. But nonetheless, that's what's available. All right, Lenn Robbins, ladies and gentlemen, the New York Extra. And always fun having Len on the show.
Big thanks to Lenn Robbins for joining us here on the Devo Show with Lubie on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Yes, he is a degenerate, just like we are. We love our South Florida sports, but we love to come at things from a gambling angle. Why not make some money if you're watching it anyways? Talked a lot about different props, both Len, Defo, myself, like in the Super Bowl coming up this Sunday. And as always, you can get all of that right here, the Devo Show with Lubie. We will talk a lot more Dolphins, a lot more Miami Heat. We don't know if the Marlins are going to play anytime soon. And some Panthers. Of course, Canes, the U, doing big things this offseason. Florida State, Gators. Defo, myself, love talking South Florida sports. So, of course, we're grateful and appreciative to be a part of 5 Reasons Sports Network. Ethan Skolnick, Manny, Alejandro, everyone here doing a great job, really focusing in hard on South Florida sports. We're proud to be a part of it. And hopefully you keep watching, subscribing, listening to the Defo Show with Lubie right here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network.
Hey folks, Tony Segreto here. Since day one, Catholic Health Services has been part of Old School. And since we've started letting people know about them, it's changed their lives. You see, Catholic Health Services, while being recognized as one of the top places for stroke rehab in the country, it's also about a group of people who not just excel in what they do, from the doctors to the nurses to the therapist, on and on and on. It's how they do what they do every single day that separates them from the pack. They do it with a passion, unmatched, and the inclusion of family in every step of the process. Trust me when I tell you this. If you want the best, unmatched rehab with a special group of skilled, caring people, there is truly only one place, and that one place is Catholic Health Services.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. Their hours have changed a little bit. Monday through Thursday from 3:30 to 10, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11:30 to 10. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.